you pick a mentor or a coach? Now, y'all, this episode is going to be a little longer than my usual solo episodes because, surprise, it is not just a solo episode, but you'll also get a little bit of an interview recording that me and my friend Sarah Weaver, we basically recorded an impromptu podcast episode after another podcast episode that is actually coming out. We just started talking about coaching as well, and it really just developed into this whole new impromptu episode, which was super fun because she kind of interviews me and I interview her, and it's just like this mishmash. So I hope you like it. I just decided to include it in here because I was already going to talk about this topic and do a whole episode, but I think it's even better to kind of get not just my take on it, but Sarah's take as well. So how do I pick a mentor or a coach? Do I even need a mentor or a coach? I get this question so many times and it's so funny. Like, it's really quite great because I literally just hired a new coach a week ago to take my business to the next level. But let me preface with this. You do not need a mentor. The only things you really need in life, right, are water, shelter, and food. Most things in life you don't actually need. Just the same way that you don't need school, you don't need college, you don't need a training program for if you want to run a marathon, or you don't need a football coach, and you don't need to hire a cleaner, and you don't need tutoring to be successful, and you don't need to take guitar lessons if you want to learn how to play the guitar. Okay, the only things you actually need are a few basic things. However, will you move a lot faster with a mentor? You bet your butt you will, okay? And here's the thing. Hiring a coach doesn't just fix all of your problems. Now, you can and will get results if you're dedicated, but if you're just going to hire a coach and think that they're going to solve all of your problems for you, then you're going to be very, very disappointed in yourself. You need to be ready and willing to take action, hire a coach, and actually put your best foot forward when it comes to achieving your goals. And that's why a lot of people do hire a coach, because they have some knowledge. Maybe they want some guidance that you want, and you're ready to take that next step, to make a change in your life, to take that leap and do what's required to hit your goals. That being said, I also know a bunch of really crappy well, actually, I don't know any crappy mentors, but I have taken a bunch of crappy courses or coaches that I haven't really resonated with, and I get that. And unfortunately, it does put a sour taste in people's mouth, and it kind of ruins it for other people. But at the end of the day, hiring a coach isn't going to be your quick fix to figuring out life, okay? And I honestly believe that each coach that I have hired, I usually get a few incredible, amazing nuggets from them that completely change the trajectory of my life. And it helps give me insight into something that I was severely struggling with. Now, coaches are obviously not cheap. A lot of these coaches cost a lot of money. Like, I totaled in 2023 about $25,000 just on coaches. It was either $20,000 or $25,000. But boy, was it so worth it. And I've made that money back many times over at this point. But just the knowledge that I gained kept pushing me further and further. And here's the thing. It's not even about the numbers, and it's not just about like one coach that made a difference. It's the way things aligned and the timing in which I took them all played into the bigger goal. And that's what's really going to help you move the needle. And it was so funny because I was listening to the Better Life podcast by Brandon Turner, and he talked about how he's read like 100 or 1,000 books, something like that, that have helped make him $1 million. But it wasn't one book that made him $1 million. It's that every little book that he read gave him a little bit more information to make him more money over time. And he didn't know necessarily which book was going to do it. Like, I didn't realize Everything is Figure Outable was going to be a huge mind-changing book for me, or a recent one that I read was Rich as Fuck by Amanda Frances. Like, that book seriously did a mind shift for me. I did not realize that was going to be a total game changer, but you don't know ahead of time what's going to really flip the switch for you. You still have to take that action to make the switch. And you can only really connect the dots looking back, being like, oh, of course I got to where I am because I took this and I read this book and I worked with this mentor. And obviously, this is why I'm here where I am today. So it's like, you can't specifically say, I'm going to read these 5 books and these 5 books are going to change my life and make me $1 million. But because of the law of averages, if I read 100 books and make $1 million, that means every book you read made you $1 million. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and hire like 100 different coaches, but just know that if you are feeling a calling and a pull to work with a certain mentor or a certain coach, it's not that they're going to completely solve all your problems, but the knowledge that you're going to gain from them may make giant switches in your brain to then go out and make $1 million or to then go out and buy that property. And the same thing happens when you go to conferences. So even when I look at all the different coaching programs that I've been a part of, some of them had like a very tangible goal. And there was like an exact thing that I wanted to get from them. But others, I really didn't have a tangible outcome that came out of it. For example, a dear friend of mine, Heather Blankenship, she's such a badass, like owns $30 million worth of real estate all by herself. She specializes in RV parks. I joined her RV park coaching program, not because I even wanted to actually buy an RV park. Like I did know I wanted to do glamping, but I was not really like sold on the whole RV park because it just didn't really fit the kind of projects that I wanted to do. But I knew that I wanted to be in her realm, in her space. She had done so many cool things and was living a cool life on her own terms. I was like, I need to learn from this woman, you know? And she was running a really big, amazing community, which was something that I knew I also wanted to do. So in my brain, it was just like, yeah, I want to learn from this woman. Let me get in her space and her energy. Did I think that I would actually come out of her coaching programs like being friends with her after that? No, that wasn't even in the realm of thought. But then I was like added to her women's mastermind and we actually became friends. And she's been such an expander for me. Someone who was like secretly pushing me to do more and even helped me through the entire time of starting and launching WWA, giving me advice since she already had $1 million program. Versus, you know, a more tangible course that I took was Tony and Sarah Robinson's Airbnb coaching program. Now, there are literally so many Airbnb coaching programs out there, like so many, but I thought to myself, who do I want to learn from? I knew I wanted to learn from Tony and Sarah because their vibe matched my vibe and I wanted to be in that space. I honestly just like wanted to be friends with them. I already knew that I really wanted to get into short-term rentals. I wanted to buy more properties and scale my business. So it was just a very seamless fit. And now I'm happy to say that we're actually friends to this day. And while you shouldn't make all of your decision based off of who you want to be friends with, really think about what are you trying to actually get and accomplish from signing up for a coaching program or a mentorship program. And something funny, so I always tell people that I will happily pay to make friends. Like in our entire lives, we kind of do pay to make friends, even though we think we may not. Like we pay to go to school. That's literally paying to make friends. Maybe we pay to be a part of a community. We pay to be in a dodgeball tournament. One of my closest friends and business partners, Anita, I literally paid and signed up to do this pottery class. And I had no intention or desire really of doing pottery, but it was a way for me to make friends. So even joining these coaching programs, getting in the space and energy with people who you want to be around, who are doing the same things that you want to do, have these same goals is huge. Because at the end of the day, all the information that you actually need is online and in books. It really is. Every single piece of information that you could possibly need from a practical standpoint to go out there and buy a property or to do literally whatever it is, like build a business or quit your job or start traveling the world or open up a factory or an ice cream shop. All of that is out there online. But that's not what we pay for. We don't pay for the information. We pay for the community. We pay for access to people. We pay for the belief change. We pay to cut down the time and to have the roadmap. So we don't have to go out there and like try and put all the pieces together. We pay for the accountability. We pay for someone to literally hold our hands throughout the entire process so that we can go out there feeling confident and ready to go. And we pay to finally get out of our brains and start taking action, start actually making moves. I honestly think that's why a lot of people are successful when they join coaching programs. And I feel that they are so successful and gravitate towards WWA because they take action. They're like, I want to do something. I'm willing to do it. I'm ready. Let's freaking go. And like, this is not a ploy for you to join WWA. Obviously, I would love to have you join. And if you feel called to join, amazing. But at the end of the day, you just need to do something. Do freaking something and stop sitting around and wallowing because you aren't reaching your goals. Okay, so now let's get into the actual interview with Sarah. This is going to be fun. Let's go. Okay, so this is an impromptu episode. We have Sarah Weaver here, and we are going to be talking about coaching and mentorship and everything about it. And I think Sarah, well, I feel like you might ask me some questions. I'll probably ask you some questions too, and we'll just run with it.
Cool. Yeah. I love the idea of really helping people figure out like, okay, how do I know that these people are like worth it? Because I think it's really scary for people to like swipe their credit card. Yet I have done it so many times. And I can tell you like without question, like it is worth it, man. Like, and so, yeah, so let's start off with, what is a mentor versus what is a coach?
That's it. I don't actually know what the difference is. What is the difference? Like, what would, I guess, like, because they can be both, right? Like, a coach can also be a mentor. I would say mentors don't necessarily always pay for them, but you could also not pay for a coach. So I don't know. Like, I guess, what is your definition?
Well, let's like use that funny, like, what is it from Dodgeball? It's like those that can't do teach and those that can't teach gym.
Okay.
And so a coach often is someone who is coaching you how to lift heavy weights, is coaching you how to, eat better, or coaching you how to be a better public speaker. But it doesn't necessarily mean that like speaking coach has a 6-figure speaking business.
Mm-hmm.
But you want a 6-figure speaking business. So therefore you pay that coach. Whereas a mentor, as I see it, is someone who has the real estate portfolio that you want, has the lifestyle that you want. You are wanting to emulate them.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, they are a good coach and they have like a step-by-step process and all the systems. And I'll like shout out Amy Majori. So like Amy Majori, what I love about her is like she has done the damn thing, but man, is she good at teaching it. Like when you join her program, you get all the scripts, you get the plug and play text messages, you get the copy and paste messaging. So she is a mentor who is a really, really good coach. Yeah, that's my definition. Is a mentor has the life and maybe the like accolades that you want to emulate, whereas a coach is going to teach you how to do those things.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I honestly, for me personally, didn't really have a distinction, but I also think it's because generally when I'm hiring someone, I want them to have done it themselves. Like I know the difference, right? Like I can tell if you're going to be coaching me on, like, for example, I actually just hired a sales coach and like, she doesn't have a huge following. She doesn't, she's not like the biggest social media guru, but she freaking kills it at sales. And I'm like, that is the person I want to learn from. And she has the receipts. She's shown she crushes it at sales. And that's the skill that I'm looking for, right? I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care like if you're in Forbes magazine or whatever, right? What I care about is, have you accomplished the thing that you are teaching, and how are you teaching it? Or do you understand how to like coach me and get me to where I need to go, but you also have done it yourself, right? Because I think that's why I always struggled with teachers in school, right? Because a lot of them haven't even done the thing that you're teaching them. They're just learning from a textbook and regurgitating. I'm like, this is dumb.
I know when I came back, so I took a semester off from college, my sophomore year, and I went backpacking and went to Europe, New Zealand, Australia at 19. Now, when I meet 19-year-olds abroad, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mom. I was so young. And I remember when I went back and like re-enrolled at university, I would like learn about something in the textbook and it would be like in a building in Florence, Italy. And I'm like, oh yeah, when I was there. And one, I was very annoying. Like I hate those kids who are like, well, when I was in Barcelona, so I had to be really careful not to be that kid. But it was so funny to me because I like would ask the teacher who was like obsessed with like, let's say like, antiquities. And I'm like, oh, like, have you, and they hadn't been to Europe yet. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, okay. And so I just like learned really quickly, like in order to be liked, I needed to probably not talk about that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No, completely. Completely. And well, and that's why even when I think about like the students that I bring on, I'm like, if you're looking to do something different where it's like, I want to scale to 50 properties, I'm probably not going to be the right person for you because I don't have 50 properties and I don't, the way that I invest is for my lifestyle. It's not to build a big bit. I love building businesses though. Don't get me wrong. Just from the real estate standpoint right now, that has not been my focus. So I'm not going to be the best person to coach you. And I will happily tell you, I will recommend that you go speak to this other person like Tony and Sarah, who've done a fantastic job with scaling their portfolio ginormous and have created a huge business around it. Like,
Absolutely. I think for me, I am really clear on what I'm good at and how it can apply to other things. And so, like, while I cannot teach you about flipping, I can teach you about how to systematize. And so, like, don't join flippers, like, don't join my program to learn about flipping because that's not what I'll teach you. But I can teach you how, like, to use technology and virtual assistants to scale. And then you can apply those things to flipping. And so I think it's also really important that people figure out like what is the piece of their business that's missing.
Yeah.
And make sure that whoever they're about to pay is going to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I didn't realize at the beginning, right? When I first started joining mentorship programs, it almost feels like, oh, I'm going to join this mentorship program and it's going to fix everything, right? But it's like usually you're just looking for that one piece, that one switch. Like, and that's what I take from any mentor, any coach, even that I hire or don't hire, whatever. There's like one small thing that's probably going to shift things.
Oh my gosh, Olivia, when like someone joins your program and like, 3 weeks in, they're like, I don't own a property yet. And it's like, you've attended zero
Oh my
calls.
gosh.
You have opened your notebook up 0 times. And you've analyzed 0 deals.
Yeah.
We can, what's the saying? Like we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink. And so I don't say that don't like to harp on the negative, but I think it's really important that people hear that like you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Like when I read a book on marketing, like every single chapter, I stopped what I was doing and I did the activity or the task that the book told me to do. And it took me, a month and a half to read the book, but other people might read the book in 2 days, but then move on to the next book.
Yeah.
And not actually implement what it says.
Completely. And then even when I look at like either programs I've been a part of, especially ones where I'm like star student, right? It's because I went in and did the damn thing, right? And I was there on every call and I was asking questions. And when I even look at, the students who I see succeeding in my program, it's like they show up, right? Like they show up, they listen to the things, they watch the videos, they do the exercises, they're out there putting offers in. Like you got to show up and actually do the work. Otherwise, like you're just paying money for no reason.
The 3 students in my program who are definitely top 10, if not top 5, as far as how much progress they've made in my program, they are in an accountability group together.
Yeah.
Which is not random. I place people in the account. I like handpick who you're going to be in an accountability group with. But that wasn't what dictated success. What made these 3 investors successful is they are my only accountability group in my program because they dictate how often and the frequency of which they're going to meet. They meet every week.
Yeah.
And I think it is no mistake that there is a correlation between how often they are meeting with their accountability group and how much success they're seeing in their real estate investing.
Completely. And that's why, so like, for example, the way that I do it is I hold everyone accountable. So like literally everyone has like a weekly goal that they figure out for themselves, but like it's in the community every single week. It's like, did you hit your goal? And it's so funny because like, so I brought on my best friend Anita into the program and she actually did interviews with a lot of the students in my program and we're like, what do you like? What do you not like? All of that stuff. And one of the things that they really enjoyed was the accountability piece and how I'll like call people out and be like, oh, did you do this? Because it's like, you do have to have that accountability. Think about like hiring a fitness coach, right? A fitness coach can give you the whole plan of everything that you need to do. But if you're not actually going to show up and do the work and That's why a lot of people, they like having an in-person fitness coach because it forces you to get up and go to the gym. It's huge, especially if you know for yourself you need that extra support. Like, take the extra support and show up.
Yeah, absolutely. You are holding me accountable to make reels on Instagram,
Yes.
which sounds maybe really silly to the audience, but I have been hiding from, posting on social media for multiple reasons. I made this reel. Actually, my VA helped me make the reel. And it has a piece of a testimonial from someone that has attended one of my programs. And he says to the camera, he says, "You can't hide from Sarah." And I am so like, that actually like gave me like chills down my spine, because that's exactly what happens when you join my program.
Yeah.
Is you can't hide, because I know that these people want it, right? Like when Emily joined my program, I know that Emily wants this so badly. She's also showing up on camera and on time every Tuesday to the calls. Like, I know how badly she wants it. And so I'm going to also, as their mentor, like show up 100% for them.
Yep.
And hold them accountable.
Well, and it's just a reminder, like, you wouldn't be joining this program if you weren't hurting, if there wasn't something that you really wanted out of it. So just remember that you chose to join. So show up, put your all in. And like, obviously life happens, but I have students who still go back and watch, like, we record all of our videos and stuff like that. They go back and they watch every single video. I literally had one student, she didn't show up to anything. And I was like, I don't really know what she's doing. And I'd check in. Suddenly she's like, no, I went through everything. I started putting offers in. I'm under contract. I'm like, beautiful. Amazing,
What a testament to your material then, Olivia. Like, you should be so proud that like what you are putting out there gave her everything that she needed, that she didn't even ask questions.
Yeah.
Because there was no questions left unanswered. So props to you.
Aw, thanks. So sweet. Oh my gosh. But I guess, a lot of people have the barrier of the price, right? Like, because as we know, most mentors aren't cheap, but like, remember that cheap is a mental game, right? Because we all spend money on something at the end of the day. We're all spending money. It could be towards whatever. It could be towards food. It could be towards trips. It could be towards a bag. It could be towards school. It could be towards anything. So I guess, how do you help people overcome that mental money barrier?
One, I hope everyone has the money. Like, I really don't like seeing like people run to the back of the rooms of a Tony Robbins event and they're putting like $20,000 worth of coaching on a credit card with money they don't have. So let me be the first to say, I think you need to have the money. And next is, if you're struggling to justify spending the money, because at this point you have the money, I think you need to do the math. What am I going to need to do inside of real estate to make it worth it? Well, for a lot of people, that is one property. And then what's the tax benefits? So for a lot of my students, they're learning that they can do bonus depreciation through cost segregation and save upwards of like 50. I'm saving $117,000. That's dollar amount in taxes for 2023 through cost segregations. And so, of course, I would pay someone to learn how to do that.
For sure.
That's a no-brainer.
It's like, where are you going to get that kind of an ROI, right? But like, once again, you have to do the work, right? Because I know for me, like when I go into a coaching program, part of why I like call myself star student sometimes, because I go into it being like, I'm going to get my money's worth. It's like, if I'm going to pay for it, I'm putting the work in and we are making this worth it, right?
Like we may be traveling better than, hostels and backpacks, but like once a frugal backpacker, always a frugal backpacker.
Always. I love that.
Yeah. And I want to be like, when I joined this dietitian that I mentioned, I'm paying $900 a month for 6 months. It's very expensive. Like, it was actually very difficult for me to spend that money. However, the value that she's bringing is, I might be doing really well because I'm an extremist. So I did really well the first like 3 weeks on eating. I cut out gluten, I cut out dairy, and this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle thing. So since I have added gluten back in, turns out I can't eat gluten. Added dairy back in, I'm good. I can eat dairy. So I'm like, this is a lifestyle thing. This is not a diet. So the first 3 weeks were good. The 3 weeks after that were good. But 6 weeks in, I had a freak out
Yeah.
moment. I didn't like the number on the scale. I was frustrated. I got hungry. I didn't pack snacks and I had a freak out moment. Well, I could just text my
Yeah.
dietitian, and she talked me down, realized what was missing. How could I do better next time? All these things. Then, a week later, I got invited to a restaurant and it was with a bunch of high powered men. And I didn't want to eat off plan. I wanted to eat optimal at this restaurant. And she actually looked at the menu items and told me, well, first she of course asked me, what do you think you should eat? And made me tell her. And I was close. There was a tweak that she made to the meal choice that I had. So I am learning, guys. And that is what I'm paying for, is I'm paying for someone that I can message in those moments
Yep.
of freak out, because anyone can buy a course. I could buy a course on how to eat better. Of course I can. I could have actually also joined a different program that was cheaper or less expensive, but I wanted something that was specific to Sarah Weaver. What is Sarah Weaver's blood work? And so what I love about my coaching program and what my students are getting is I'm asking Veronica, where are you at in your business? Okay. Well, then Veronica had a life change and that put things on hold. And so it wasn't I was big, mean coach, you haven't analyzed your deals. I treated her like a person because she is a person. And I said, while you think it might not be realistic for you to do XYZ, how about we do this instead? And she was like, oh, wow, what a great idea. And you're right. I do have the bandwidth to do that. And so I think whatever program people join, they need to figure out, do they want a course that is just self-paced and they can take it on their own? Probably, Olivia, you and I would actually be pretty good at courses because
I'm
a course taker.
Yeah, I'm a weird person that
disciplined.
gets to 100% of the course and will literally go through everything within the first week kind of thing.
Yes. But I don't think that that's normal.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the majority of people. I think the majority of people, for me with my dietitian, I needed that high touch. Well, guess what? A high touch comes at a higher cost.
Yeah.
And man, you guys, I'm getting every dollar's worth, because what's really cool is what I'm learning from this dietitian is stuff that I now have in my toolbox forever. And that's the same thing with Olivia's program and my program is, you guys, when you're in a program, it's not it's just those 6 months or 12 months. You're going to have this knowledge forever.
Oh, yeah.
And that property is going to continue helping you build wealth for however long you have it. And then guess what? Then we'll teach you how to 1031 exchange into this. And then we'll teach you tax strategies that are going to help you like this. And so my encouragement is just that people really invest in what they need.
No, I completely agree. And that's the thing. Yeah, it's I know all of my students' freakouts whenever they get under contract, whenever that's the first thing. I get a flurry of messages, and I where I'm at right now, it's I love that. I love helping people through that. I love working through okay, make sure you got this, what's happening, let's do this, yada yada yada, and being that support. That's so my course, my program originally started as a video course. I was I'll just create a course, sell it, whatever. And then I kind of started getting into it, and I was I just don't think people are actually going to take action. So let's just do an 8-week boot camp. So I started with an 8-week boot camp. After my first session with my students, I was this is amazing. This can be way bigger than this. So I ended up switching it to it's open all year round, really. And people join when they join, but it's to really support through people throughout the entire process. It's once they're under contract, setting it up, the entire process. I want people to feel supported, and it just makes me so happy that I was able to kind of make that shift, because at the end of the day, for me, it's this is for you, whoever you is, right? This is for you to get out there, crush butt, and kill it so that you can actually reach your goals, right?
Well, the reality is what I like about that structure is that you have a different set of questions when you're deciding what market to invest in. Then when you go under contract, you have a whole different set of questions. Then once you've owned a property for a while and you're ready to purchase the next one, or you're buying so fast that you run out of capital faster, then you have another set of challenges with another set of questions. And so it sounds like your program is growing with them as they grow as an investor.
Exactly. And it's just like you don't really know the questions until you're at that stage, right? Like it's kind of the same thing where people say, well, you can listen to all the podcasts and read all the books, but you don't know until you actually get in the game and start doing the thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's when people say that they want one-on-one coaching versus group coaching, I say, great. Like I can offer one-on-one coaching. However, let me tell you this one thing that I think is so great about group coaching. Susie in the program might have, 5 questions that she asked during our session together that you didn't even think to ask.
Yep.
And you're going to be like,
Yep.
damn, Susie, I wish I had asked that. And so you're getting actually so much more value when you join group coaching. I know people are
100% agree.
very like, oh, I just don't think that's true. No, it is so true. It's so
100%.
true.
Well, and it's like I've been in group coaching programs before, and it's just like, I'll come with questions prepared, and 3 people ask questions before me. I'm like, oh, actually, JK, I'm good. I got my answers, Like, yeah, it's just, you're going to learn so much more. And honestly, like for me, I like getting to the point where I'm in those calls and I can help other people as well. Even like, let's say I'm learning from someone else. And that's what I'm starting to see really like in my program now. I'm like, gosh, I'm like a proud mom. Everyone is like, answering each other and helping each other. And it's so much better to have support from multiple people than just from one person.
Well, and sometimes they need to hear it from another student. So, like, a great example is just yesterday, I had my group coaching, and Kelly was going on and on about how much she was so happy about her new bookkeeper. And I have a resource in my, resources portal, like questions to ask your CPA and questions to ask your bookkeeper before hiring them. But they were able to, my other students were like so stoked for Kelly that she found a new bookkeeper that they had all these questions for her. Where did you find her? How did you find her? Did you write the job ad? How did you know she was the right fit? And I was just like, yes, like this is what I'm talking about, because I could say, hey guys, I hired a new bookkeeper. Here's what you need to ask. But seeing that one of their peers hired a new bookkeeper and it's working,
Yep.
and it's making her life better. Finally, the ones that needed to hire a bookkeeper like 6 months ago are like, ooh, I'm going to hire Kelly's bookkeeper.
Yep. I know it's kind of like, when you don't learn sometimes from mom and dad, like mom and dad can tell you the same thing over and over and over again. And you're like, yeah, I know. But until some other random person comes in and says it, then you're like, oh yeah, I guess I should do that. And mom and dad looks at you and they're like, I've been telling you this for like years or months or however long.
I had that experience. I had another real estate investor. Her name's Rochelle, and her and her husband Robert came on my Guatemala trip, and they have 3 daughters. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, will you come over for dinner?" I was going to be in town where they lived. They said, "Will you come over for dinner and speak to our daughters?" And I said, "Okay, but be careful, because I usually convince people to like go to Europe when they're 19." And they're like, "No, I know," but they just wanted their daughters to see another female investor. They called me young, and I was like, I don't know if your 19-year-old's going to think I'm young. I think they think I'm old. But I appreciate it. But I was able to tell them like, hey guys, like I was 27, and like you can do it too. And here's exactly how I did it. And as I told like everyone in the other episode that we recorded, like my down payment was $7,000. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to tell Rochelle's daughter, like, you can save $7,000. Yeah. Like you can do it. Like this is how I did it. And look, your parents have all this, like Rochelle does like down to the foundation developments and renovation. I was like, you have like the coolest tools in your toolbox because your mom knows how to do this. And I'm sure she was like, yeah, my mom, whatever. But I think she was like, oh yeah, you're right. My mom like will be really helpful for that. And so I think you're exactly right. I think it's so important that people see people doing what they're doing or want to do, I should say, that look like them.
Yep.
And I think that's why I like feel such a connection to you, is because there's not very many women on stage who are single.
Yep.
And it wasn't until somebody pulled me aside at a large conference and they said, hey, I just want to tell you how much it means to me that you share that you're investing alone. Because while we may think so and so and so and so are the best thing, and they are, and they deserve to have the mic, and it's so exciting to see other women on stage, they also have a husband.
Yeah.
Or their husband's salary is what supported them while they were building their business. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important that everyone listening realizes that you don't have to wait until you have a ring on your finger or a supportive partner or even a ton of money in the bank. Like you can do this as a single person.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And it's so funny you say that because, like I was telling you before, my CMO, she was doing interviews with a lot of the students in my program. And that was one of the big things that they said. It's like just so cool because you're doing this by yourself. And it's like usually you see couples doing it and they're buying together. But like, especially as a solo female, like a young solo female, it can be super nerve-wracking, right? But you are so capable. So capable. Just one foot in front of the other. I love that. This is amazing.
I know. Well, thanks for having me on. I think this was a conversation that just really needed to be had. I think a lot of people are craving a mentor and a coach, and they're really nervous to spend the money, as they should be. Like, this is your hard-earned money. I don't take it lightly. I said the other day, I was like, I had a great day because I had the time, space, and energy to love on my students.
Yes.
And I think that when you join a program, you got to make sure that it's going to give you what you need.
Yep. I 100% agree. 100%. Well, this was phenomenal, Sarah. I'm so glad we got to record too. This was unexpected.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Well, as always, I support you in any way that I can. So please let me know how I can continue to cheer you on.
Okay, so I hope that this was super helpful. Like I said, that interview was literally off the cuff, nothing planned, no questions planned. We just went for it. If you like that episode, let me know. I am so freaking curious. Make sure to actually post it on your story. And also don't forget to leave me a 5-star review because it really does help with my ratings. And it really helps push this episode out to more people to inspire them to get out there, get after it, travel the world, start investing in real estate and do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, bye folks. Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member or literally anyone off of the street. Right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.